Yeah, UCLA kind of coasted here in a sense. It really felt like they played a brand of baseball that was like, to use the suffocating example, they played really good defense. They got enough hits when they needed to, and they pitched extremely well. And so they kind of cruised through their home regional. Then they get UTSA, and UTSA has that quick I think it was 2-0 lead in the first game of the Super, and then they didn't score the rest of the way. Like it was just. And that's an offense they proved it in Texas. Like, they're difficult to put down, and UCLA kind of made quick work. The bullpen, I think, threw I forget how many innings, but they didn't allow a hit. Yeah. It's like one walk, one hit by pitch from the relievers in that. So it was really dominant stuff from UCLA, and the star power on this team, starting obviously with Brock Chalowski, leads the nation in WAR by a healthy margin. He's the player to watch. I think what's interesting about him is he's having a fine postseason. I think he's hitting like 380. Doesn't have an extra base hit. And this is a guy in those 7 games. This is a guy who hit 23 home runs, most by a UCLA player, I think, since 2000. Yeah. So I think it'll be really interesting to see. This is his big kind of moment. He kind of got snubbed for the Golden Spikes finalists. It was a really tough call there with those three.
Mike Rooney was incensed about that.
Mike Rooney was not pleased.
I've never seen Mike Rooney more upset about something.
Yeah, so he put together a phenomenal season. I know this was like Omaha was on he had that checklist that's kind of gone around of his goals for the year. So it's cool to see him here, and I think it's a big opportunity for him to sort of show out.
I was going to say real quick, the other thing I really like about the guy is ESPN interviewed him the other day after they won, and what an incredible kid. There's some college baseball players they interview after games, and you're like, that's just a college kid. No, that dude sounded like a big leaguer. Right. Like his answers, the thoughtfulness, the in-depth nature of his answers, it was pretty impressive.
Yeah, I spent some time with him out there when I covered a random Sunday game late in the season. And what a treat. The guy who he reminds me of, just his presence, is Dansby Swanson.
It's just that's a great comp.
It's the charisma, the easy, natural likability and insightfulness, and just, I don't know, the whole thing. Like that's the kind of comp. Top of the draft, shortstop for a team that won it all, for Vanderbilt. That's kind of who he is. He's the guy.
Yeah, that's such a great comp. But yeah, I hadn't really thought through that. What do you got on the mound?
Yeah, I'm really interested to see how they use Ian May. So they have, obviously, with Delvecchio back, that's another one to watch. But they've got, Michael Barnett, Landon Stump, kind of the two starters. Yeah. And Ian May has been, throughout the year, he was sort of one of their only transfers from Cal, and it was kind of what role is he going to play. And it's been everything from a Friday starter to a Saturday starter to out of the bullpen. They used him as a sort of piggyback behind Stump in the regionals. And so I'm interested to see what he can do for them, because I do think with the way the bullpen is, it pitched great, but it's a light staff in terms of numbers that it feels like Savage trusts. So I think May's a guy that can give them bulk, and it'll be interesting to see what they get out of him and where they use him this weekend.
Yeah, happy for Ian May, too. I mean, it's a guy that has dealt with injuries, and felt like at Cal he would show these flashes of greatness, and we'd get really excited, and then the injury bug bit, and never felt like he totally reached his potential, but he's done a lot of good stuff with UCLA this season.
This is a neat pitching staff for a John Savage team, because if you think back to last time they were here in 2013, it was set up so differently. It was your three workhorse guys, Plucko and Vandertag, and they're going to give you 6-7 innings, and then we got our 7th inning guy, our 8th inning guy, 9th, and it was so structured like a traditional John Savage staff.
Felt like a big league team.
It felt like a big league staff, exactly. And this is just like, we're going to mix and match, and I think it's a masterful job by John Savage managing this staff, just running different guys in there, different looks. I mean, they have some power stuff, but it's not necessarily like guys that are just going to overwhelm you with stuff. And the pieces just fit together, and he's I think just managed it really well.
Yeah. If they're going to win this thing, what do you feel like the path is?
Yeah, I mean, I think starts with the pitching. They're able to mix and match, like Aaron said there, and get enough from those starters to where, you're not dealing with a ton of innings, because I do think covering a large bulk, like you got to get enough out of Barnett and Stump and wherever you use Delvecchio and May. But if they pitch the way they've been pitching, they play great defense, and they've been able to get the hits they need. I think it's kind of similar to Louisville, where they can execute at a high enough level where they're not going to beat themselves. And if you don't beat yourself, you're in good shape there.
Last time UCLA was here, they won the thing. So they at least have that history, I guess, on their side.